Welcome to another episode of the Forks for Thought podcast. I am your host, Daniel Izquierdo, and today, senior Eli Raynor will be giving us his thoughts on Juan Soto signing a mega deal worth over $800 million. We hope you enjoy. All right, we're with
Eli Raynor. I'm a senior at Cary High School, and I'm a massive Yankees fan.
and I'm here to introduce you. What do you think about the Juan Soto signing in general?
Well, personally, I think Juan Soto is a sellout trader. Soto was only playing for money and not what was on the front of the jersey, and I don't appreciate that. I hate the fact that he developed a massive fan base in New York, specifically the Bronx, and basically just spit in their face. He honestly, if Soto went anywhere else but the Mets, I wouldn't have been too mad. But he went with the little brother, and it just sat with me wrong. I didn't like it at all.
I mean, you say, if he went to another team, it would be fine. What if it was the Red Sox?
They can't afford him.
That's fair.
There's no way he'd go to the Red Sox.
What do you think about the salary in general? Over $800 million if you include signing bonuses and the term.
Well, I think Steve Cohen, the manager or the GM of the Mets, is pretty crazy because he did end up selling it was a single A and double A team.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Yeah. That's ridiculous. You need that. That's something a team can't live without. I think these major contracts are actually ruining the sport because although it's entertaining, seeing players like Ohtani sign massive multi-million-dollar contracts, it's not good for the game overall. I believe that not having a salary cap in baseball is a good thing, but when you reach a certain cap, then it becomes somewhat outrageous. So I guess it's kind of I don't know what you'd call it, but I think Soto's paycheck is quite ridiculous. $785 million, like you said, could go up to $805. I'm not a fan.
Do you think, you mentioned the salary cap, do you think there should be a salary floor so teams have to have a minimum amount of money salary-wise?
What would that affect? Like, how would that?
Basically, it's teams have to meet a certain amount of money when it comes to combined yearly salaries.
Okay.
So, like the Oakland A's, they spend like nothing, right?
Right. Yeah.
They would have to spend a certain amount so they can meet a certain amount of money. Like the
they would
NHL.
have to make more money first, though, right?
I mean, the owner is like
right,
the owner is $1 billion guy.
Yeah.
He just wasn't willing to invest in Oakland.
I don't think it would hurt. It would help some teams for sure, like the White Sox and the A's, and yeah, I mean it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't be a bad thing.
Yeah. How do you think the Mets invest in other players around the league if they want to improve in certain positions now that they have such a high salary on one player even?
Well, what's concerning is like you have players like Pete Alonso, right?
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't been like a fan favorite recently, but he's always been their go-to guy. I mean, he hit a super clutch home run in the
It was a wild card game.
Against the Brewers. That's a Met moment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like they're kind of kicking him under the bus. I genuinely don't know how they're going to afford to pay guys like Francisco Lindor when his contract's up, or
even what's his name, the catcher, Alvarez.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be interesting to see. I do think the decision made by Cohen was extremely immature in a sense. That's just too much money.
Do you blame Cashman or Hal Steinbrenner for even giving an offer? Or I should say, do you think they should have even matched it?
No, because we got studs on the team. We got guys. and we all knew he was going to be chasing money, so why not just use him for our 1 year and let him go after that? Because, I mean, after signing Judge, naming him captain, you can't really make Soto a sidekick.
Yeah.
He has too much confidence. He's got, I mean, despite what I said earlier, I think Soto is a once-in-a-lifetime player. I mean, the amount of confidence he has, bat. He doesn't have the greatest fielding, but it doesn't matter when you can hit game-winning home runs and then American League Championship Series, but that's besides the point. I don't blame Cashman, and I think this opens up more doors for the organization as a whole. We can invest more in our farm system, sign a couple new guys, like the pitcher coming out of Japan, Sasaki, sorry, who also has ties with with New York Yankees, with his favorite pitcher being Tanaka. No, I think Steinbrenner and Cashman did the right thing without matching.
What kind of players would you like to see the Yankees go after? We obviously have Christian Walker. I know they just signed Max Fried a couple days ago. They have a lot of more opportunities now that they won't be spending $45 million a year on Soto.
Yeah.
So, who do you think they should either trade for or sign for?
I would like to see. I think Luis Gill has a lot of potential to become a great pitcher. He is a great pitcher, but he could become better. But with Max Fried in the line and the pitching staff now, I don't think he really has a place in that pitching staff. So I would like to see him go to Houston, maybe for Kyle Tucker.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a reasonable trade, or maybe
Clark Schmidt.
Clark Schmidt could go in that deal too. He has a lot of potential. I wouldn't mind Teoscar Hernandez. I was not pleased with his World Series performance, but I was not pleased with ours either. So he wouldn't be a bad fit in pinstripes. Those are the main two guys off the top of my head. I wouldn't mind seeing a catcher either. With Trevino and
Wells.
I think Wells is a good fit right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was top 5 in Rookie of the Year. I think eventually he'll develop into a good power bat.
Yeah,
what do you think about maybe obviously Christian Walker? As there was rumors that the Yankees actually were close to a deal, but they backed out once Tucker got involved.
Well, we have a big gaping hole at first base right now, so I think honestly anybody could fill that role. Christian Walker's a good candidate, but I mean, yeah, that's up for grabs. And I also wouldn't like Alex Bregman either. Is he a free agent? Or
Yeah. There was actually yesterday. There's things maybe intensifying. People are saying he's going to be the next big free agent signed off the board. Do you think maybe Astros or he's going to the Yankees?
He's been super loyal to that organization, Houston, for a long time now. He's won 2 World Series.
Yeah.
2 World Series now. He wouldn't be bad in New York. I think it would take time for the fans to get used to him after all the cheating stuff in 2017 and 2019. It wouldn't be bad though. I wouldn't mind him.
Yeah, I mean, he has a good glove. I think he's decent contact-wise. I think a couple years ago, or a year or two ago, he put up over 90 RBIs.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
I would much prefer him at third base than, Jazz Chisholm. Granted, Jazz Chisholm has developed well into that position, but he would fit better at shortstop, or not shortstop, but, second base.
A lot of people are saying... I actually saw a post saying we should suggest Oswaldo Cabrera starting at second. I just don't think that's smart.
No.
He's more of just a utility guy, like a Tommy Edmonds.
That's who we need, because with DJ LeMahieu not performing as well, and just he's growing in age, I think Oswaldo Cabrera is the future of our utility guy, and I'd much prefer to see him in that position than anywhere else.
Obviously, Nolan Arenado, he did deny the opportunity to go to the Yankees. He did send out his trade list. Yankees weren't on it. Do you think he would have been a good fit, or do you think maybe he's a guy that's getting old, his bat is starting to decline?
Well, that's it. I kind of see Nolan Arenado as he's in the same position as like Max Fried, for example. He's injury prone. He's getting older. He's still good. He's still got it, but I don't think he would have been a good fit in New York. Especially if he wasn't on the trade list, then there's no point in even pursuing it because he clearly doesn't want to be with us. So I wouldn't even give him the chance.
Yeah, weirdly enough, he put the Angels over any of the other team, and then he said he wanted to win.
That's odd.
Yeah. Actually, let's focus on Max Fried right now. Signed an 8-year deal. There is no trade. So he is tradable because there is no movement clause. But there is no opt-outs, which means unless we either put him on waivers or we trade him mid-time, he's going to be a Yankee till he retires.
Right.
So you did mention he was injury-prone. Do you think, yes, he's had seasons where he's had 160, 180 innings with, a low 3 ERA. Do you think as long as he at least gives us more than a little bit half a season, do you think that's a lot of value in the contract?
I think so. He can throw pretty hard.
Has good breaking stuff too.
Great breaking stuff, especially as a lefty. I don't mind him in the pitching staff. I'm sorry, this doesn't really answer the question. I don't know enough about him to say what you want me to say. I just wish I don't think we'd be having this conversation if we picked him up 2 or 3 years ago. I think if the situation was different and he was younger, I would be on board all the way. But this, I don't know. I feel like that was just kind of like a Cashman kind of, hey guys, I'm sorry we didn't get Soto, but here's Max Fried. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's Corbin Burns, but we have more than enough right-handed guys. I think it was more needed if we had a lefty.
Yeah.
Maybe not 8 years, but
8 years was definitely not.
His
that was probably the only way we could get him, though. I think teams probably put up shorter contracts with more money, and that was probably the only way we could acquire him, which is fine. But
if any worst case scenario, we can kind of do with what we did with Ellsbury, just let him go and pay, or Donaldson even.
Yeah.
But he's only really had 1 year where his injuries really got to him. Those first 2 seasons, he was more kind of in and out minor leagues.
Yeah.
But he's been one of their more consistent starters outside of Spencer Strider. Obviously, he didn't pitch last year.
Yeah.
Chris Sale won Cy Young. So I think, we did take one of their better pitchers. But now that I think that was a big problem in the World Series is that we didn't really have bottom of the rotation depth.
No.
You had Rodon and Cole, but then after that, you had him pitching game 3 or 4.
Yeah,
he's not ready for that. Stroman didn't even get a chance.
No,
Cortez
he
got hurt.
Should have, though.
Yeah, I was really surprised that they signed Stroman and they didn't get him. Cortez obviously had that whole mishap. Game 1 grand slam, and that was a pretty questionable decision when he hadn't pitched in 2 months. I think they also threw out Cole on 4 days of notice in the World Series. So and even then, look, in the 5th inning, obviously, they had the whole massacre, but it was a lot of mishaps in the World Series, especially pitching-wise. I think the team got a little worn out pitching-wise.
Yeah, for sure. I think LA was, honestly, with Yamamoto, who was the other guy?
Jack Flaherty.
Jack Flaherty and Walker Buehler. And, of course, we had a heyday with their bullpen day, but yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I think Max Fried, he'll just be okay.
Yeah.
He won't be great. He'll be okay.
As long as he gives us mid-3s, 150 innings. You can't not even a lot of pitchers do that nowadays. Mm-hmm. It's actually impossible to find a pitcher with that. So, as long as he gives us longevity, at least gives us 4 years, half of that contract, he does good.
Yeah.
I think that's the best case scenario.
Sure.
Let's think. You have also the bullpen. A lot of people have really been talking about that. Obviously they re-signed Loaizaga yesterday for 1 year.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to see maybe with a new closer? Obviously Clay Holmes left to the Mets too. So Is there anything you want to see there?
I would like to see someone replace Clay Holmes. I have a lot of confidence in Luke Weaver. I hope that he can carry on what he had this year onto the next. I'm satisfied with our bullpen at the moment. I don't really know who I would like to see in the future, but
there's a couple guys. I think Tanner Scott, who we want to acquire. I know
he's
he's
a
a
guy
free
from
agent.
the White Sox. Or is he a starter?
Crochet, he went to the Red Sox yesterday. There's also Carlos Estevez, who was on the Angels. He was also, I think he actually got picked up by the Phillies last year.
Okay.
Jeff Hoffman had a really good year. Playoffs, he did struggle a bit, but he has shown to have good stuff. Obviously, the Yankees have a great pitching coach in Matt Blake, so I think we can trust him there. They've talked about Tommy Kingley maybe bringing him back, but he's starting to age, and when he fails pretty bad. He kind of turns into Clay Holmes. So, yeah.
I think re-signing Awaziga was a good move. I hate that he is also prone to injuries, but he's also an amazing pitcher. I would like to see him throw more for sure. I'd like to see him more involved in games instead of just sitting on the bench with the cast on. But I don't know. I think I'm confident in our bullpen. That hasn't been a struggle for us for a little bit. I feel like a majority of the games in the World Series, most of the runs were given up by our starters. So I would focus on the starting pitching staff versus the bullpen for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the Yankees tend to find some random guy, and then they turn him into an absolute stud in the bullpen. So, so I don't think that's really something to worry about. I mean, look at guys like Ian Hamilton. You never heard of him, man. They become great.
He was a bum in Chicago and eventually came over to us.
Yeah, Tim Hill. I mean, it's really, I think, honestly, relief pitchers, big market ones even, they tend to kind of flop a little bit from time. They're kind of a hit or miss. When you get those, I mean, look at Luke Weaver. That guy, see him as a failed top prospect starting pitcher, comes to the Yankees, and now he's found his role.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think, bullpen should be fine. But I guess that's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
That will be all for this episode of Forks for Thought. We hope you enjoyed the episode, and if you want to see other podcast episodes, feel free to view our YouTube channel or website at chsthepage.com. Daniel Izquierdo signing off.